Imagine if you stumbled upon a dusty, forgotten tomb in the heart of an ancient forest, where the air whispers secrets of a curse so potent it could unravel the threads of your very soul. Would you dare to listen, or turn away before the shadows claim you? In the shadowed valleys of Eldoria, where mist-cloaked mountains pierced the heavens like jagged spears forged by forgotten gods, there once ruled a king named Vortigern, whose name echoed through the annals of time not for his valor or wisdom, but for the darkness he unleashed upon his realm in a fit of madness and betrayal. Born in the year 842 of the old calendar, Vortigern ascended the throne at the tender age of 23, inheriting a kingdom teetering on the brink of prosperity and ruin, its borders frayed by incessant wars with the barbaric hordes from the northern wastes and the scheming duchies to the south, where rivers ran red with the blood of fallen warriors and the cries of widows pierced the night like mournful dirges. His father, King Aldric the Just, had been a beacon of fairness, forging alliances through diplomacy and trade, building grand halls of marble and gold where scholars from distant lands debated philosophy under vaulted ceilings adorned with frescoes depicting heroic legends of yore. But Vortigern, with his piercing emerald eyes and raven black hair that fell like a shroud over his brooding brow, harbored a heart poisoned by envy and ambition, whispering to himself in the dead of night about the power he craved beyond the mortal coil. As the years unfolded like the pages of a crumbling tome, Vortigern's reign began with promise. He fortified the castle of Blackthorn Keep, a monolithic fortress perched atop a sheer cliff overlooking the turbulent sea of storms, its towers spiraling into the clouds like the fingers of a grasping giant, and he married the beautiful Lady Alara, whose golden locks and sapphire gaze captivated the court, bearing him 3 heirs who played in the sun-dappled gardens filled with blooming roses that hid thorns sharp enough to draw blood. Yet, beneath this veneer of stability lurked a festering wound. Rumors of Vortigern's dalliances with dark sorcery, gleaned from forbidden scrolls smuggled from the ruined libraries of the ancient empire of Zorith, where mages had once commanded the elements with incantations that shook the earth. It was said that in the hidden chambers beneath the keep, illuminated only by the flickering glow of alchemical flames, Vortigern consulted with a hooded seer named Malachar, a withered figure whose skin was etched with runes that glowed faintly in the gloom, promising the king eternal life in exchange for a sacrifice that would bind his soul to the shadows. The kingdom prospered outwardly. Fields of golden wheat swayed under azure skies, merchants' caravans laden with silks and spices traversed well-patrolled roads, and festivals lit the nights with bonfires and laughter. But whispers spread like wildfire through the thatched-roof villages, tales of villagers vanishing in the fog-shrouded moors, their screams echoing faintly before silence swallowed them whole. Historical chronicles, penned by the royal scribe Harlan in his leather-bound volumes now moldering in forgotten archives, detail the pivotal event that ignited the curse, the Great Betrayal of 865, when Vortigern, paranoid of a prophesied uprising foretold by Malachar's crystal orb that shimmered with visions of rebellion, accused his loyal brother Prince Garrick of treason, claiming he plotted with foreign spies to usurp the throne. Garrick, a valiant knight whose armor gleamed like polished silver and whose sword had felled countless foes in defense of the realm, was dragged in chains to the throne room, where tapestries depicting glorious battles hung limply in the stifling air heavy with incense and fear, before a stunned assembly of nobles clad in velvet robes embroidered with the royal crest of a crowned eagle. Vortigern pronounced sentence, his voice thundering like a storm, condemning Garrick to death by beheading. At dawn, ignoring the prince's pleas of innocence and the tears of Lady Alara, who clutched her children close as if to shield them from the encroaching darkness. As the executioner's axe fell with a sickening thud on the blood-stained block in the castle courtyard, where ravens circled overhead like harbingers of doom, a collective gasp rose from the gathered crowd, and in that moment, something ancient and malevolent stirred within Vortigern, for Malachar had woven a spell that required the blood of kin to activate, binding the king's life force to an obsidian amulet that pulsed with unholy energy, granting him unnatural vigor but at the cost of his humanity. The curse began subtly, like a whisper in the wind. Crops withered in fields that had once burst with life, turning to dust under a sun that seemed dimmer, more accusatory, and livestock sickened, their eyes glazing over with a feverish madness that drove them to leap from cliffs into the churning sea below. Villagers spoke of ghostly apparitions haunting the roads at twilight, spectral figures in tattered cloaks that beckoned with bony fingers, luring the unwary into bottomless bogs where bubbles rose like the last breaths of the drowned. Vortigern, oblivious or perhaps willfully blind,
retreated deeper into his arcane pursuits, his once handsome face now gaunt and lined with shadows, his laughter echoing hollowly through the empty halls as he pored over grimoires that detailed rituals involving the essence of stars and the screams of the damned. Lady Alara, heartbroken and suspicious, confronted him in the royal bedchamber one stormy night, lightning flashing across the leaded windows like divine judgment, accusing him of dooming their family with his forbidden arts. In a rage, Vortigern struck her down, her body crumpling like a discarded doll, blood pooling on the intricate mosaic floor depicting the kingdom's founding myth, and in that act, the curse fully awakened, a palpable force that twisted the very fabric of reality around Blackthorn Keep. The children, young princes and a princess with wide, innocent eyes, fled into the night, guided by loyal servants through secret passages lined with cobwebs and the faint glow of luminescent fungi, but the curse pursued them like a relentless hound, manifesting as nightmarish visions that clawed at their minds, hallucinations of their father's twisted form, his eyes glowing with infernal fire, reaching out to drag them back into the abyss. Historical depth reveals that this era marked the decline of Eldoria, as neighboring kingdoms, sensing weakness, launched invasions. The Battle of Crimson Fields in 870 saw Vortigern's forces, plagued by desertions and morale shattered by tales of the curse, clash with the armies of King Thorn from the south, swords clashing in a cacophony of steel and screams, arrows whistling through the air like vengeful spirits. But Vortigern's men faltered, their weapons seeming to grow heavy within unseen weight, and defeat was inevitable. The fields left strewn with corpses that the curse animated at night, shambling horrors that terrorized survivors. Suspense built as Vortigern, now a reclusive tyrant, delved deeper into madness, sacrificing courtiers in midnight rituals on an altar of black stone veined with glowing quartz, their blood channeling into runes that flared with crimson light, all in a desperate bid to appease the curse he had unwittingly amplified. Malachar, revealed as a demon in disguise with horns curling from his hooded brow and eyes like bottomless pits, laughed maniacally, confessing that the curse was eternal, designed to feed on the king's regret and spread like a plague, ensuring that no heir would ever sit peacefully on the throne, their reigns marred by tragedy and downfall. The kingdom fractured, duchies declared independence, forming petty fiefdoms where warlords ruled with iron fists, and the once grand cities fell into disrepair, vines creeping over crumbling walls like the fingers of time itself. In a climactic confrontation, the surviving heir, Prince Thorn, named after the enemy king in a twist of ironic fate, having been hidden in a remote monastery where monks chanted protective incantations, returned as a grown warrior, his muscles honed by years of training, his heart steeled by prophecies etched in sacred texts predicting the curse's unraveling through blood redemption. Sneaking into Blackthorn Keep under the cover of a moonless night, where thunder rumbled like the gods' disapproval, Thorn navigated the labyrinthine corridors haunted by whispering echoes of past atrocities, evading guards whose eyes were vacant, puppets of the curse. He burst into the throne room, where Vortigern sat upon his obsidian throne, the amulet around his neck throbbing like a living heart, his form withered yet radiating dark power. Father and son clashed in a duel of epic proportions, swords sparking with magical energy, the room shaking as arcane forces collided, paintings rattling on walls depicting Vortigern's former glory now mocking his fall. With a final thrust, Thorn shattered the amulet, unleashing a vortex of shadows that howled like 1,000 tormented souls, consuming Vortigern in a maelstrom of regret and pain, his screams fading into the ether as the curse lifted momentarily, only to bind itself to the land in a forgotten form, waiting for the unwary to disturb its slumber. Yet, the story doesn't end there. Centuries passed, Eldoria's ruins swallowed by forests where ancient oaks stood sentinel, their branches entwined like lovers' arms, and the curse became legend, whispered around campfires by travelers who spoke of a king's wrath enduring beyond the grave. In the modern era, or what we might call the Year of the Awakening, 1423 by the new calendar, an intrepid archaeologist named Dr. Alara Voss, descendant unknowingly of Lady Alara, her name a echo across time, ventured into the overgrown remnants of Blackthorn Keep, drawn by fragmented maps unearthed in a dusty museum vault, her flashlight piercing the gloom like a beacon of curiosity. As she brushed away centuries of dust from a sealed sarcophagus in the crypt, where air hung heavy with the scent of decay and forgotten incense, the lid creaked open with a sound like breaking bones, revealing Vortigern's mummified remains clutching a reformed amulet that pulsed faintly, and in that instant, the curse stirred anew, visions assaulting her mind, flashes of the king's betrayal, the axe falling, the fields withering, compelling her to relive the horrors as if they were her own. Suspense mounted as shadows lengthened unnaturally, walls whispering incantations that chilled her blood, and she realized the curse's true nature, not mere destruction, but a cycle of remembrance, forcing each discoverer to bear witness to the king's sins, trapping their soul in an eternal loop unless they uttered the redemption rite inscribed on the sarcophagus lid, an ancient tongue that twisted her lips as she spoke it haltingly. With the words complete, the amulet shattered in a burst of light, banishing the shadows and lifting the veil of dread, allowing Alara to emerge into the dawn's first light, the forest alive with birdsong as if reborn, carrying the tale forward as a warning that some curses are forgotten not by accident, but by design, lest they consume the world anew. And so, the forgotten curse of the old king lingers in the annals of history, a testament to the perils of unchecked ambition, reminding us that the past, though buried, can rise with a vengeance if we dare to unearth it.